my channel mammals and my strangers. Today is Thursday and I'm dashing to get the lesson from the Bible to you today. So let's get right to it. I wanted to go outside with you, but we're inside now in the forecastle as we were yesterday in the shipping department of Victoria and Richard and Prize. Okay, here we go. I'm going to read sections 5 and 6 from this week's lesson. It's called Everlasting Punishment. And the golden text, which is kind of a development of the theme of the lesson, is praise. This is from Psalms. Praise ye the Lord. Oh, give thanks unto the Lord, for he is good, for his mercy endureth forever. And in 1 John, it says in section 5, Jesus went out into the Mount of Olives, and early in the morning he came again unto the temple, and all the people came running to him, and he sat down and taught them. And the scribes and Pharisees brought unto him a woman taken in adultery. And when they had set her in the midst, they say unto him, Master, this woman was taken in adultery in the very act. Now Moses, in the law, commanded us that such should be stoned. But what sayest thou? This they said, tempting him, that they might have to accuse him. But Jesus stooped down, and with his finger wrote on the ground, as though he heard them not. And when they continued asking him, he lifted up himself, and said unto them, He that is without sin among you, let him cast a stone at her. And again he stooped down and wrote in the ground. And they which heard it, being convicted of their own conscience, went out one by one, beginning at the eldest, even unto the last. And Jesus was left alone, and the woman standing in the midst. When Jesus had lifted up himself, and saw none but the woman, he said unto her, Woman, where are those thine accusers? Hath no man condemned thee? She said, No man, Lord. And Jesus said unto her, Neither do I condemn thee. Go and sin no more. And then the correlative passages from Science and Health say, as the individual ideal of truth, Christ Jesus came to rebuke rabbinical error and all sin, sickness, and death, to point out the way of truth and life. When forgiving the adulterous woman, he said, Go and sin no more. Men and women of all clime and races are still in bondage to material sense, ignorant how to obtain their freedom. Fear of punishment never made man truly honest. Moral courage is requisite to meet the wrong and to proclaim the right. But how shall we reform the man who has more animal than moral courage, and who has not the true idea of good? Through human consciousness, convince the mortal of his mistake in seeking material means for gaining happiness. Reason is the most active human faculty. Let that inform the sentiments and awaken the man's dormant sense of moral obligation. And by degrees, he will learn the nothingness of the pleasures of human sense and the grandeur and bliss of a spiritual sense, which silences the material and corporeal. Then he not only will be saved, but he is saved. Do you not hear from all mankind of the imperfect model? The world is holding it before your gaze continually. The result is that you are liable to follow the lower patterns, limit your life work, and adopt into your experience the angular outline and deformity of matter models. To remedy this, we must first turn our gaze in the right direction and then walk in that way. We must form perfect models in thought and look at them continually, or we shall never carve them out in grand and noble lives. Let unselfishness, goodness, mercy, justice, health, holiness, love, the kingdom of heaven reign within us, and sin, disease, and death will diminish until they finally disappear. We acknowledge God's forgiveness of sin in the destruction of sin and the spiritual understanding that casts out evil as unreal. But the belief in sin is punished so long as the belief lasts. And then in section 6 in the Bible, the book of Philippians says, "Finally, brethren, whatsoever things are true, whatsoever things are honest, whatsoever things are just, whatsoever things are pure, whatsoever things are lovely, whatsoever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, and if there be any praise, think on these things." And then in James, "Whoso looketh into the perfect law of liberty, and continueth therein, he being not a forgetful hearer, but a doer of the work, this man shall be blessed in his deed." Shall we ask the divine principle of all goodness to do his own work? His work is done, and we have only to avail ourselves of God's rule in order to receive his blessing, which enables us to work out our own salvation. The calm, strong currents of true spirituality, the manifestations of which are health, purity, and self-immolation, must deepen human experience until the beliefs of material existence are seen to be a bald imposition, and sin, disease, and death give everlasting place to the scientific demonstration of divine spirit and to God's spiritual, perfect man. God attains the demonstration of goodness. Goodness attains the demonstration of truth. Each successive stage of experience unfolds new views of divine goodness and love. The end. Well, I promised you that, or I think I did, at least in my heart. I thought at the end of the lesson, it would be fun to show you just a wee snippet, a quick glance at what we're working on here in the shipping department. We're going to make a video, but you'll get to see the first little wink of it. Making a video about what we're doing for the ceiling and really for the whole shipping department. So I'm going to ask you to just bend back your necks like you're lying in a lounge and look up, and you will see the most beautiful ceiling you've ever seen. And as it progresses, you'll be able to see more and more. Well, have a wonderful afternoon. Much love to all of you, and we'll meet again next Wednesday. See you soon. Ahoy.